Hello, my creeps. It was supposed to be an adventure, just a simple hike to satisfy our curiosity. My friends and I had heard stories about a forest miles from town, a place people called the Whispering Woods. Rumors said that hundreds of old, lost dolls were scattered across the forest floor, hanging from the trees and hidden in strange places. No one knew where they came from or why they were there, but the locals avoided the place. We thought it sounded creepy but interesting enough to explore. So, one overcast afternoon, we drove out to the edge of the forest. The air changed as soon as we stepped into the woods. The towering trees twisted into one another, their branches intertwining overhead and blocking out the sky. Fog hung low to the ground, shrouding everything in a hazy gloom, and the only sound was the crunch of leaves beneath our feet. It felt like we had stepped into another world, a silent, forgotten place. But we hadn't gone far when we spotted the first doll. It lay on the forest floor, half buried in the dirt, its dress tattered, and its face cracked, with one eye missing. The sight of it was unnerving, but we brushed it off. Someone must have dropped it, we figured. But as we kept walking, we saw more dolls hanging from branches, some wedged into the hollow trunks of trees, others simply lying on the ground, staring up at us with empty, lifeless eyes. There was something wrong about them. Their faces were warped from exposure to the elements, paint peeling, eyes missing, hair matted and tangled. Some were baby dolls, others had features that were meant to be cute, but looked grotesque in their decayed state. And then there were the ones that had no faces at all, just smooth, blank surfaces where features should have been. "This is so messed up," Jake muttered, eyeing a doll that hung from a low branch, its head dangling at an unnatural angle. None of us disagreed. There was something deeply unsettling about those dolls, the way they seemed to be everywhere, as if they were watching us. After a while, the path disappeared, swallowed by the forest, but we pressed on. The further we went, the stranger the dolls became. Some were missing limbs, others had been tied to branches with bits of rope, swaying gently in the breeze. I tried to shake off the feeling of unease building inside me, but it was hard to ignore the sensation that we were being watched, not just by the dolls, but by something unseen, something hiding among the trees. Then we heard it, a whisper, faint and distant. At first I thought it was the wind rustling through the leaves, but the sound grew clearer, more distinct, like words spoken just out of earshot. "Come play with us." I stopped, my heart pounding, and looked at my friends. They had heard it too, their faces had gone pale, eyes wide. "Did you hear that?" Sarah whispered, her voice barely audible. We all nodded, too stunned to speak. The whisper came again, this time closer, as if it was coming from right behind us. "Come play. Stay with us." Panic started to rise in my chest, and I turned in a slow circle, shining my flashlight into the shadows between the trees. The fog seemed thicker now, swirling around us, and the dolls, they looked different. Their heads were tilted, their eyes focused on us, and their expressions seemed to have changed, their smiles twisted into something sinister. "We need to leave," I said, my voice trembling. No one argued. We turned and started back the way we had come, our footsteps quickening as the whispers grew louder, echoing through the trees. "Stay, don't leave, play with us." The words seemed to come from every direction, surrounding us, pressing in on us. I glanced over my shoulder and felt my blood run cold. The dolls, they were moving, slowly, almost imperceptibly, but they were shifting. The ones hanging from the branches swayed without wind, their heads turning to follow us. The ones on the ground seemed to drag themselves forward, their tiny hands clawing at the dirt, their eyes fixed on us. When Jake shouted, and we did. We ran, stumbling over roots and rocks, crashing through the underbrush, the whispers growing louder and louder until it felt like they were inside my head. My heart pounded, my breath coming in ragged gasps, and I didn't dare look back, We burst out of the forest and into the clearing where we had parked, the whispers suddenly stopping, leaving an eerie silence in their wake. We stood there, panting, staring back at the dark line of trees. The dolls were no longer visible, hidden in the shadows, but I could still feel their eyes on us, watching, waiting. Since that day, I haven't been able to shake the feeling that something followed us out of that forest. Sometimes, late at night, when everything is silent, I hear it again, the faintest whisper, calling me back to the woods, back to the dolls, back to play.